And we are tracking breaking news this hour. A tsunami watch has now been issued for British Columbia because of that magnitude 8.7 earthquake that occurred off the eastern coast of Russia. So let's bring Darius Madavi back in. You've been watching this for us. First of all, 8.7, that is a big earthquake.
It is, yes. And you have to remember, these measurements of earthquakes are exponential. So the higher the number, that really grows really quickly how intense that earthquake was. Now, this is BC. Let's zoom out to the Gulf of Alaska and beyond over to Russia. This is all the earthquakes that have happened in the last 12 hours. It's this red one that we're watching that has just happened in the last hour. Magnitude 8.7, like you said, happening off the coast. This is a massive earthquake and serious risk of a tsunami across much of this region. Now, some warnings have been issued as well as advisories and watches. For tsunamis, it works a little bit differently than the weather warnings you're probably familiar with. Here we have warnings and watches, and they all sort of fall under an advisory. But here, the red, we have warnings, tsunami warnings. This is an advisory, and this is a watch all down the coast. A watch really just means that we're unsure what the potential impact might be. An advisory in particular means that you could experience some strong currents, and you should be, on any of these, getting out of the water. And then a watch warning means potentially imminent tsunami. So the watches, a little bit of uncertainty happening. We're not exactly sure what the impact might be from Alaska, stretching all the way down to Mexico, down the coast. But there could be an impact, so there's some steps that you should be taking.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for people who are watching to know that just be aware of this, be aware of what Darius said about the various levels, and certainly don't be alarmed, especially if you're along the BC coast. In 2012, I think it was October of 2012, we had a massive earthquake on Haida Gwaii, just part of British Columbia in the northwest part of the province. And there were, Haida Gwaii. So massive earthquake. It was on a Saturday night, and the warnings went out then as well. In the end, there was no tsunami anywhere. And so you can have a huge earthquake, a huge displacement of water, but when you look at how big the ocean is, how wide an area the force can be dispersed, right, it is quite possible that there won't be a tsunami at all, but these warnings are there. And you said there's one section here, I guess, in this peninsula where it's an actual warning.
That's right. Okay. And it's also worth noting, a tsunami doesn't necessarily mean these towering waves that most people picture. They could be just a couple of meters. It's a lot of force because a lot of it is under the water, but not likely to see the devastation that people probably think of when they hear the term tsunami. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is that this is very far away. So even if we were to see a tsunami reach the coast, it wouldn't be for several hours. So there is time for authorities to figure out what exactly we might be looking at here. For instance, Hawaii, the earliest potential arrival in Hawaii wouldn't be until about 7 o'clock Hawaii time, which is around 10 p.m. here on the west coast. The other thing to highlight, BC has some warnings or some tips for what you should do when you are under one of these tsunami watches. Obviously, get away from the water. Don't go towards the ocean. Try and get towards higher ground if you feel that if that makes you more comfortable. But for now, again, a watch is mostly just about the uncertainty factor and less about anything imminent that's going to be happening.
And we have just 20 seconds. Where are you keeping track of these warnings? What website?
Tsunami.gov is the best place to go. They aggregate everything, and it's easy to understand for a government website.
Okay. Don't worry, but at least be aware of this, and we'll keep tracking it here on CBC.